Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly update show. Hope everybody is doing well. Kindly guys, take a second out, support the channel, click a like button, share this broadcast, subscribe, all that good stuff. Again, hopefully I will continue to help you guys out on a daily basis. Again, the key word is daily basis. I'm not trying to figure out what's going to happen a week from now, a month from now, 6 years from now. I am trying to take the data that we had and apply it for the next day. And if you watched the broadcast last night, I made a pretty good, I don't want to use the word argument. It wasn't really arguing with anybody, but I made a pretty good point about how there is a very big similarity that we had going back to November the 11th, okay, when we had this whole Trump euphoria re-election move. Then we started getting a little bit heavy, I called it a roundabout pause, testing the 5-day moving average, ultimately losing the 5-day moving average, and rug pulling, right? And the one thing that experience gives you, unfortunately, experience is the most aggressive and the most violent teacher you could possibly have. And if I didn't go through this for a better part of 25 years, you can't spot this stuff, right? Because you think, again, rallies are never going to end. Euphoria is never going to end. The fruit punch, the euphoria fruit punch is unlimited. And we're going to just rally till the cows come home. And usually that's not the case. Just like all euphoric moves, they do end, right? Whether they end spectacularly in a crash, in epic proportions, taking away 2, 3, 4 months of your performance in a single week, or as just a little slow drip, kind of nickel and diming you to death. And the point that I tried to make yesterday, again, nobody's calling for a destruction for equity prices. Nobody's talking about we're going to go to zero and this and that and the third. We're just trying to use our experience, or at least at this juncture, my experience, of what I've seen for many, many years playing out exactly the same way. And I tell traders all the time, don't try to memorize stock patterns, okay? When you use your experience, and again, the experience could be a year old, right? But use your experience to kind of go back in time to try to find similarities, right, in price action when the market behaved carbon copy as you're seeing in present day. And that's exactly what we're starting to do right now. We're starting to play out just like we started to play out right over here on this November 11th area. And ultimately, we lost the 5-day moving average. And what happened next was a move from 509.83 all the way down to 494.40. So again, does that mean it's going to be playing out exactly the same way? No, again, everything is different. Every single day is different. Every single interval is different. But at least you're using your experience, right? You're using your experience to kind of put it into your mental Rolodex to put yourself in a situation and say, hey, wait a minute, I've seen this before, right? I've traded this before. This is only a month ago. I kind of know what potentially could happen next. And we talked about it last night in the video of what happens, right? Again, these rolling pauses or rolling pregnant pauses, I like to call it, they're not going to be obvious. Like I said in last night's video, you're going to see a lot of stocks that are strong. You're going to see a lot of stocks that are weak. And the question is, well, again, if they start getting heavier and putting in lower highs, well, what happens if they lose the 5-day moving average? And we got our answer today, right? If you look at the similarities from November the 11th, you'll see it. You have your red bar, right? Your red bar after a big run. The next day was a lower high. It touched the 5-day moving average. It bounced. The next day held the 5-day moving average again. It finally lost the 5-day moving average and splat. Guys, look exactly how we're playing out here, right? You have 3 sets of a row of lower highs and lower lows. Yesterday, just like we did on November the 12th, we tested the 5-day and bounced. And today we lost the 5-day. If you guys remember on last night's video, I said, hey guys, watch 521.20, 521.20, 521.20, 521.20. That's the area. Again, it's not a secret. The market's not trying to trick you. All of us have exactly the same data in front of us. You just have to embrace technical analysis works. It's a guide. The market's not trying to trick you. It's telling you where the areas that you have to be careful if you're long, and it's telling you where to be aggressive if you want to take a short position. So today we kind of played out that way, right? We kind of played out. We had some very aggressive moves to the downside. Some names started cracking, like we talked about in last night's video. We'll get to the pivots in a second, but I want to start off with Tesla, right? I want to start off on the bright side, right? Not that the market got hammered or anything today, but again, you saw some pretty aggressive moves to the downside. Again, I'll get to the pivots in a second, but I want to get to Tesla, right? So Tesla all-time highs, right? All-time highs on Tesla. Let me go to the monthly chart. Are right here, right? All-time highs on Tesla is on November 1st, 2021, right? Those highs are 414.50. Everybody see that, right? 414.50. Today, we started seeing some of the most aggressive call buying that I've seen recently on Tesla. 420 weeklies, 430 weeklies, and we started seeing 480 and 500 Januaries, right? Again, so January sounds like a long time, and you realize we're already almost in the middle of December. So the question is, and this is now the first close on Tesla over 400, right? In a very, 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 very long time. The question is, can we test the all-time highs in the next couple of days? And that is going to be determined of, well, how can the bulls sustain if they can reclaim back the 5-day moving average that they lost today? Again, these are very, very big ifs. But if you are a student of option flow, right? If you are a student of option flow and you believe, like I do, that the options market drives institutional money flow, drives the underlying equity, I think you got to pay attention, right? I think you got to pay attention. And if we start getting above today's channel, right? If we start getting above today's channel tomorrow, I think there's a shot. No, let's just not even say tomorrow. Let's just say in the next couple of days. I'm always optimistic it's going to be tomorrow, but let's just say in the next couple of days, right? If Tesla in the next couple of days can confirm today's price action, I think we have a legitimate shot of a test of the all-time highs. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Your guess is as good as mine. Again, as we know, I'm not in the guessing business. I take data, I apply it to the channels, and if they confirm the channels, blah, 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 we're prepared to trade them. If not, life goes on. But that's kind of how we're setting up. And the bets that we saw today, especially for the Januaries, right? The 420 weeklies were super aggressive considering the stock closed at 401. But the 480s and the 500s, especially those 500s of January, they were super duper violent. So let's see if it plays out, right? Let's see if Tesla could play out in the next couple of days. Let me give you guys the pivots, right? Let's talk about the pivots today. So this one right here, I try to, for everybody to kind of thank you very much for the viewership. I try to give you guys levels on the pivots on the ETFs, especially on the Qs. We talked about this last night. Again, nobody's playing cloak and dagger. This is, these are the pivots, right? These are the pivots that you could be, and everybody in their right mind could be looking at the same data. So 521.20 is the 5-day support. If it builds below, can flush. 3-star is just kind of a tier system that we developed on position sizing. Everything pretty much is 3-star, right? There's no such thing as a 2 or 1-star trade. That means it's not a setup. 4-star is kind of a continuation of a major breakout. 5 is a major, major breakout. And 3 stars are pretty much anything else. A reclaiming of the 5, losing the 5, reclaiming the 10, blah, 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 blah. So this kind of a tier system. So if you ever see 3-star, it has nothing to do about the quality of the setup. It's just basically the tier size on that interval. So 521.20, 5-day support. If it builds below, can flush. Here were the Qs, right? Here were the Qs. And they lost the 521.20s and we traded all the way down to the 519 area. Again, Doesn't sound like a big deal, right? Doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's not supposed to be a big deal. We're not saying the market's going to crash. We're just trying to take advantage of our interval. For tomorrow, watch 519, right? Watch 519. If we start losing 519 tomorrow, then we should get down to the next level of support, roughly around the 517 area. Again, guys, we're not talking about Armageddon. We're not trying to spread fear. We're just telling you stocks trade from supply to supply and demand to demand. So if it starts losing continuous levels, it should go down to the next demand zone. So watch the 519 tomorrow on the QQQs if the market decides to sell a little more. So really, really nice move on the Qs. Avago, we were watching 180 needs to confirm. 4-star trade. Again, that means a continuation off the breakout. Obviously, never got there. You guys remember we talked about if the market pulls last night to watch the semiconductors, right? That was the first group we said, watch the semis, watch the semis, watch the semis. Well, the semis got hit, right? NVIDIA 137.13. If it builds below, can flush. Here was NVIDIA. Congratulations to all you guys who caught it. Lost the 50-day SMA, EMA, traded all the way down to 133.70s. The big continuation potential selling is the November lows. Watch that area, especially if the market is going to be heavy off of the CPI number that comes out tomorrow at 8:30. So watch that level. Watch the November lows. If NVIDIA continues to sell, it could take down the rest of the group with it. AMD, remember we talked about AMD last night? 130, if it builds below, can flush. Here was AMD, right? Here was AMD. It lost the 130, traded all the way down to 127. Again, that's the magic number for tomorrow. It starts building below 127. There's going to be more, right? There's going to be more. PLTR 71, if it builds below, can flush. It stopped right there. Guys, watch PLTR tomorrow. Okay, watch PLTR tomorrow. If it starts losing 71, that means it's going to start losing the 5-day moving average. Google had an awesome gap today, right? Big gap today. It had news about quantum willow chip, whatever that is. I guess is good, right? Google had one of the biggest moves out there. And look at the notes here, folks. Look at the notes here. Huge gap up on quantum news. 181 is the potential dip bounce on this potential 60-minute channel. Guys, look how cool. I mean, that's why technical analysis is super cool. Look at the lows. Look where the lows were today, guys. Look at the lows here. 181.05, right? Technical analysis, folks. It's not random. Buy into it. Love it. Feel it. It'll respect you back. So really nice bounce off of Google. Amazon, again, we talked about last night on Amazon that it put in an inverted hammer. Again, what's an inverted hammer? It's a short-term sell signal. Again, the stock didn't get killed, right? It didn't get killed, but 25.67, if it builds below, can flush. And again, it's not supposed to get killed, right? But it lost the 25, right? It lost the 25.67, traded down to 24.20. There's a soft landing coming in here in the 5 days, somewhere around the 223 level. So keep an eye on that for more downside in case they start selling. But this was the one, right? This was the one right here. Tesla, there's a sneaky area. You guys hear me talk about sneaky pivots, right? 394.40 needs to build, and right? So here was the sneaky pivot. You see this whole channel here, right? The top of the channel here was this 394.40. Once it got back above the 394.40, this thing absolutely exploded. Took out 405, traded all the way up to almost 410. Again, guys, this thing, if this thing can sustain its rally, first close over 400, let's see if we can see a test of all-time highs in the next several days. So again, huge move there. MSTR gave a trade, 362 if it builds below, can flush, went down like 5-6 points, nothing big, and then reversed with Bitcoin, and that is it, right? That is it. So again, the market is the market, guys. I've always maintained the fact, and I tell this always to new traders, before you can figure out what type of trader you want to be, whether it's a large cap trader, options, futures, commodities, Bitcoin, whatever it is, okay? Your first order of business is love the charts, trust the charts, fall in love with them. Guys, the market, I promise you, the day is long. The market is not trying to trick you. It's just not, okay? Everything that you need to be, whether you're trading for 150 years or you're trading for 150 minutes, it's all right in front of you. The same data I have, you have as well. But the problem is, if you're so distracted with social media, what this one is doing, what Reddit's doing, what StockTwits is doing, your favorite avatar with the cool watch on Twitter, what he's doing, you're missing the big picture. Again, in high school, one of my favorite classes was cinema, right? There's something called a MacGuffin. You know what a MacGuffin is? A MacGuffin is when a director, right? When a director is trying to trick the viewer, okay, by giving them like side views, right? Side views of something going on the side, and you don't realize the big picture, the plot of the movie is right in front of you. Don't get fooled by nonsense. Everything you need is in the trust or in the charts. It's going to make your career. It's going to break your career. But I promise you one thing. If you start early in developing those technical skills, it's going to really cement your foundation in the formidable years. Guys, God bless everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. God bless. I will see you all on the video tomorrow night.